Thank the chairman. I now recognize the ranking member of the subcommittee, Jasmine Crockett.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And I first just want to begin with a news alert. Guess what? Joe Biden is not the president anymore. So maybe we can move on. Maybe we can move into the present, because it seems like we are living in the past. And listen, these are not the good old days, you know, like you used to sit around and your grandparents would talk to you about what used to happen. What we need to be talking about is how we are going to legislate, because I think that some of my colleagues have confused what our jobs are. And I get that we're sitting in judiciary. And so it may seem as if we are here to be litigators, but we are here to be legislators, which means that we are supposed to be writing laws, not trying to have our own trials and determine whether or not something is true or not, or whatever the case is, or who should be sued, who shouldn't be sued.
What the fuck Jasmine Crockett be talking about, bro? She does the same thing that all of the rest of her Democrat Party members do, and that they bring a whole bunch of people in order to try to ask them questions. As a matter of fact, one of the things that she said that she wanted to do was debate with and get information from Doge, because she felt like Doge should be running all of their information through Congress, even though Congress was the ones that approved, and basically their job is to make sure that they control the purse strings of the United States of America, which ultimately led into us at $37 trillion in a deficit. So, you know, she wanted to bring them in so that she can debate with them just to waste time. And you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck should she be talking about, bro? I just wish she would just be more regular and just do her job. I'm so tired of hearing from this woman, but I can't lie. It's very entertaining to react to.
All I know is that a great American hero, a good senator out of New Jersey, said something to the effect yesterday as he was shattering the record for holding the floor, a record that had been held by another racist in this country. As he shattered that, he said something about the fact that this should not be about left versus right. It should be about right versus wrong. And I am going to tell you that I want us to focus on right versus wrong. The reason that we are struggling right now in this country as it relates to people not trusting agencies, honestly, a lot of it is because of elected leaders. Let me tell you, one of the things that the chairman and I actually agree upon, we don't agree on a lot, is that we both know that there has been a sharp incline as it relates to threats upon our lives. Regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on, we both know and agree that as sitting members of Congress, we both are enduring more death threats than anybody should in this country. And I believe that it is because of the divisive rhetoric, and it is because of the selective enforcement of things. And so when we have, and I'm gonna be clear, because I had remarks and I'm going a whole other way.
Goddamn eyelashes, bro. It's the eyelashes. It's distracting me. Let me not to be distracted. Let me tell you something. There's been nobody that is more threatened than Elon Musk and Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, there's been 2 assassination attempts before he ever got into office that we know of, before he even got to the election, because there's too many people that actually don't want to see him succeed and be successful and fix the United States of America because it affects their pocketbooks. More importantly, on top of that, Elon Musk said that he get more death threats, and if he was to actually say and reveal what he's found out as a result of finding what's going on in between the fraud, waste, and abuse from Doge, then he felt like he'd be assassinated. Largely, a lot of it comes from her rhetoric that she tries to convince Democrats to have against people like Elon Musk, and she's basically trying to incite a riot while drive down and tear down an American company. Ain't it crazy how the wolf is crying right now? How the people that have the most divisive rhetoric that she led with the whole racist trope when we tried to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion so that we can be merit-based. We'll get there. We'll get there. Let's let her rock.
To have the sitting attorney general go on, and I'm gonna call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me. To have her go on Fox News
Pam Bondi,
and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me, it was wrong.
she didn't send it
Because
to her.
here it is, she
said, if you continue to have the rhetoric that you have that is inciting violence and causing people to demonstrate and protest and basically rock out with domestic terrorism by burning down Tesla dealerships without, you know what I'm saying, apologizing for it or telling these people to stand down like they tried to hold Trump accountable for, even though Trump offered Nancy Pelosi the full military might or the National Guard to stop this whole thing, then what are we to do? But I'm going to let her rock all the way to the end of it because I want to get to the end of what she got to say.
Is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing, that she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm gonna say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law.
Saying that you should consult a lawyer does not say that you should not tear up somebody else's dealership. Are we all on the same page? Are we all in the same space here?
The reason that our party, or I won't even say our party, our country, is torn apart is because we can't even agree on right versus wrong. This should not be left versus right. The only thing that we're asking is that we have law enforcement that will show up when there is an actual crime.
This is the new Maxine Waters, ladies and gentlemen. Watch what I say.
If somebody calls and says, hey, I need you to investigate this cyber crime, or I need you to investigate this child pornography, or I need you to investigate this robbery, then we want somebody to show up, and we don't want them to look at us and act as if just because I'm black or because I'm woman, that I am not worthy of having that case investigated, because we have an administration that is continuously railing against diversity, equity, and inclusion, or we don't need people that show up that feel like diversity should not be valued. That is why.
This had nothing to do with her previous comments and what she prefaced. She couldn't wait to get this shit in there. Honestly, come on, man. Let's just be real. Let's have a conversation here for a second. Jasmine Crockett just prefaced everything that she said so that she can throw in diversity, equity, and inclusion that had no validate, like it had no reason to be a part of this conversation. If she just wanted to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, cool. It's not right. We should get in off our own merit, and that's really the true test of racism. But because she wanted to get that shit off, but she really wanted to get off her rocks on Pam Bondi, because Pam Bondi said, yo, you can't just keep having this divisive rhetoric and inciting people to go and tear up Tesla dealerships, because you're not going to be able to save them when we charge them with domestic terrorism like she is doing, right? Over in Nevada and other places, they've been arresting people for tearing up Tesla dealerships and basically blowing up cars. And she tried to segue her way into it, and she tried to finesse and finagle her way into it. But we're not going to let her get away with it, bro. We're just going to call a spade, and we're going to address it for what it is.
We should have somebody that may show up and looks like me. The final thing that I'll say, because you've been gracious, is this. When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black.
I don't believe that shit. I don't believe it. I don't believe it even a little bit. I don't care how they try to make it make sense. I don't care how they remix the story. I don't care how they trying to justify it. Not even a little bit do I believe that she walked in and said, hire me because I'm black. And that's the only reason. And that was the end of the interview. Hire me because I'm black, and that's the end of the interview. I don't believe it, not even a little bit. You're not going to convince me of it. Bullshit. I call cap all day long. You telling me she walked into the office and the only thing that they discussed is said, hire me because I'm black. And he said, okay, because I'm a black woman. Stop it, bro. Stop it.
Charlie looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, let me tell you something. When I walk in, I'm gonna walk in with a level of rapport and understanding that maybe some of my other colleagues will not. Charlie offered me my job, and I worked my butt off, and I worked really, really hard for all of my clients, not just those that look like me, and that is what it looks like to serve.
Listen, fam. All of this nonsense, all of this BS, all of what they selling, we can throw it in the trash. Nobody should be hired just because they black. Nobody should be hired because they white. Nobody should be hired because they're a woman or a man or anything like that. They should be hired because they're the best person for the job. It's the end of the conversation. And if they want to stand on the fact that she, is proud that she's a diversity, equity, and inclusion hire, which is bullshit, and that whole speech that she just gave was nonsense. If y'all want to stand on that, if y'all want to rock with that, cool. Cool, rock with it. I'm not going for it, and it's not going to work for you. And thank God we got a person in the White House that actually stand up for merit instead of standing up for color, because that's the true, test of what racism really is. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll let you guys later. Peace.